This is the new Deadlock tech. It's called the Ceiling Trip.
One enemy remaining.
Normally, the sonic sensors don't work over head height, but with this, they do, leading to some pretty stupid sonic sensors like this one on Haven.
Sensor tree.
To do the ceiling trip, find a flat wall that has an edge to it. Then flick it down just as you are on the edge of where you can place it. Then you're all set.
No spike down B. Sensor tree.
Bro, my bad, bro.
Oh my god.
Just wanted to break this down quickly. You see how the Omen couldn't immediately trade the Jet? Yeah, that was the trip I placed. It stunned him so that I could get a 1v1 with Jet and then take him out.
Whoa. Oh.
Oh!
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
I told her, baby, can you please come down? 10 calls down the miss, girl, what you on about? She told me lately, feelings getting too wild. It's cuffing season and I need you right here with me now. I told her, you got jokes, girl, let's stop. Call them at all. You should know, I don't care if you want to act.
Last player
But for me,
standing.
you know my answer is no. Yeah, I'm sorry if you big man. I get it, you don't ever need a hit bag. Block me, go ahead, girl, I get that. You a boss bitch, right? Get that big bag. Ray that bag, so go ahead and make them walk.
No!
Cause you not my girl.
Let's kill.
Do all that. You just my homegirl, so let 'em
Nice.
all clap. You a boss ass bitch, so get your big bag. Break that bag, but you and that will never
Wait, watch this. I'm gonna predict ult, okay?
apologies. So you in love, but tomorrow you're
One enemy remaining.
you indecisive, never stick to your feelings. You think I trust you, but you know that you're so please. Girl, use a big cap, just like the yuppies in my city.
One enemy remaining.
Like it's trendy, shawty, I got. Trying to be play like a fool. When you talk about love, my response to you is hot. Every week you in like top like
One enemy remaining.
baby, just leave. Yeah, I'm sorry if you big man.
One's close, one's close, one's close. Nice, good shit.
Look, baby, my pride high. You take
Last player standing. Spike down A. One enemy remaining.
Nice, let's go.
yeah, I ain't shitting, I make dick, I know, but you ain't shit. You play pretend it goes, and bitch, I'm fresher than a prince. Got your girl doing banana splits. Whoa, when you fall in love, I move on to the next again. There you go again with that flow, that retirement. When I'm finished, you can say game over, bitch, try again. Yeah, I'm not shit, and I rock it. This is shout out to the girls who say I'm not shit. I'm obnoxious, and I'm heartless. When you slip and get your feelings, and that is like you to dip. They been calling me a dick, and you know that I should have fried. You say I'm inconsiderate, I'll be like, where's the lie? If you want a coyote, I'm broke. I know when I slide like a fox, I'll be a thief. I'm a heartbreaker, 109. From a while, I know they tell me that now I'm good, how? She come up for the wrist stroke. Told me I should pull up, I told her maybe.
Now let's go over my favorite ceiling trips that I use on a regular basis for every map. Starting with Ascent, you have this one. That basically targets anybody going towards lane. You have this one as well, which is kind of weird, but it also targets people who goes towards lane. Then, if you want to protect market, you have this one, which basically stuns outward, right? So anybody pushing from mid towards market will be stunned by this thing. You have this one, which you can use at the start of the round. Same concept here. Anybody pushing towards your mid will get stunned and you can shoot them. For short, you have my favorite probably on Ascent, which is this one here. It looks kind of weird, but it actually works. So what happens is when you walk past this middle of like the line here, this will go off and it will basically stun all of this area here I'm walking on. Over to bind, you have this one here, which you place at like the entrance of CT. And what this does is when the enemy tries to retake, once they pass this point right here, they'll get stunned. They have to then go 180, look up and shoot this thing. Other than that, you have this one, of course, which is kind of the same concept. Basically, the enemy's walking out, shower. Oh no, they get stunned. 180 up and then shoot in order for them to break it. You can also try to experiment with like placing it on the lamps, but I haven't found a way to actually make this work properly. So if you can find a way to make like lamps stun people, fair play, bro, fair play. Now moving over to B side, my favorite one to use here is definitely this one. If you can get it right, you just place it like this where you enter CT, and then same concept as the earlier ones. They have to walk out 180 and then shoot the trip. Another one which is kind of situational but really funny is this one where you place it on like the little like image thing here. I don't know what it's called, but it basically will stun anybody here and on top of this tube thing here. Now for beast, there isn't really a lot of good ones, but I'll show you the main ones I use. So first of all, you got this one which covers anybody coming from double doors and push onto A side here. You can also do it from this angle, but usually I like to place it deeper. You also have this one on A main here, which is kind of weird, but you gotta be careful with this one as well because it doesn't really stun a lot. It only stuns mainly this area I'm walking on here. Now for B side, I didn't really find a lot of them. The only really like kind of good one I found was this one here. But again, this one doesn't really work that well, so I wouldn't really use this one. Now for Haven, you have a couple ones. We can start on the A side. So if you place it on the tree plank like this will basically stun anybody who's pushing out from long. Now for short, you can be kind of creative. There's like a ton of them. For example, you have this one where you place it on the plate, I don't know, on this thing, and it will stun anybody pushing up short. Other than the one on the plate, you can also place it on the plank here, and this will also work. Now for B side, I didn't really find a lot of good ones. The only thing is like if the enemies are retaking, you can place one like this and like this, and then again like same concept. They push in, they have to do a 180 and then shoot like the trip. For C side, here you find the one I use the most and the one that's probably like the most effective trip I've found so far like in the game. And that is the one you place when they try to push out of a garage. Nobody expects this trip, and also it's really broken because again 180 and then shoot it. Other than that, you can place it on the plank here, which will stun anybody like pushing out the entrance from long to side. Now over to the map with the most ceiling trips, we have Lotus. Starting on C side, you have the one I showed earlier in the video where you just place it on like this little edge here and it'll stun anybody pushing into C side. Other than that, you can place it like this, which will basically stun anybody coming from waterfall trying to retake. And not only that, it also stuns on top of default tiers. You can also place the trip here, which will stun anybody pushing upstairs. Now for B side, I only really found two good ones. One is this one here, which covers the entrance to like B heaven. And then finally, the one that I use the most is this one, which covers the entrance from the broken door here. Now for A side, I actually didn't find any good ones. Now for split, here are the main ones I use. You have this one, which basically covers anybody pushing from ramp towards heaven. Then on site, you really only have one that I've found that is kind of good, which is the one you place on the screen. And this will stun anybody on the stairs. Now for B side, you have a couple as well. One of the main ones I use is this one that basically stuns any enemy that's pushing from mid up towards heaven, right? So it will stun from here. From main, you have the one I showed earlier in the video, which is this one. Finally, if the enemies have to retake and you want to make it a pain in the ass for them to retake, place one near the sign, and when they push out, they'll get stunned. For sunset, there's only really one useful ceiling trip I found, and that is if you place it where the door is here, because when they push out from mid towards B side, they get stunned by this thing. But yeah, that's pretty much all the ceiling trips I use, and I do really think that this will change a lot of Deadlock setups, as now you can kind of experiment with like cheeky rat places to place your trips. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you can. Bye bye.